My way of playing was to defend and attack. In Italy, we surprised almost everyone. To become captain of AC Milan at 22 wasn't easy. For me, that was the beginning of a great responsibility, because everyone was always expecting more from me. I was 14 years old, and as a younger brother, I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my older brother, who was already at Inter Milan. So I went for a first trial at Inter. They weren't convinced, so they told me they wanted to wait another year and see what I was like then. And then my first coach took me to AC Milan, and they had a bit more faith in me. And that's the story. Fate decided that of the two brothers, one would play for Inter and the other for AC Milan.
In the city of Milan, the name Baresi carries enormous weight. Giuseppe played almost 400 times for Inter Milan across 3 decades. But it was younger brother Franco who was destined for true greatness. And he began quickly. In 1979, aged just 18, and in only his second season at AC Milan, Baresi helped the Rossoneri to claim their 10th Serie A title.
It was a great joy because it was my first season as a regular starter, and I immediately won the title. I received a lot of praise, so there was suddenly a lot of attention on me, and for me, that was really the beginning of great responsibility, because everyone was always expecting more from me.
Such expectations were perhaps unsurprising, as Baresi's early performances earned comparisons with one of the game's true legends, Franz Beckenbauer.
At the beginning, it made me feel honoured and really motivated me. My style of playing was to defend and also to attack. So I tried to set up the action. I wanted to play the ball, and for me, Franz was the #1 in that role.
Franco was most likely superior from a defensive point of view, but he probably didn't quite have the technique of Beckenbauer, who had previously been a midfielder and was then moved back into defence.
The other thing with Baresi, which often gets overlooked, is he was exceptionally comfortable on the ball. He could spray the ball anywhere, and that also meant that he never got caught in possession, and he became a very valuable weapon coming forward as well from a deeper position.
He was a legend, someone very special. Over the years of watching him, I admired him more and more. So I tried to improve my own game and emulate his way of playing.
My favorite definition of Baresi comes from Paolo Di Canio, who played with him at Milan. And he said it was like watching a game on the PlayStation where God has one of the controllers.
But Baresi's early success proved to be short-lived. 1980 saw Milan relegated to Serie B for their involvement in the Totonero scandal.
Milan were relegated twice. The first time had to do with irregularities linked with illegal betting. Betting was illegal on football at the time, and they got caught up in it. The second time, they came straight back up, but then they were relegated again.
We went through some really difficult moments. It definitely wasn't a nice time for us. But the supporters still showed a lot of love for the team. The San Siro was always full, even in Serie B. We played some good football. We had a lot of fun and won the league to go back to Serie A, to start to rebuild AC Milan and improve. In 1982, I became captain at 22. A great honour and great responsibility, because to become captain of AC Milan at 22 isn't easy. They gave me the chance, and I gained awareness, personality and confidence. because the club invested in me for the rebuilding of an AC Milan that was going through a really difficult time.
Despite now playing in Serie B, there was more good news for Baresi.
In '82, I was called up for the national team and was part of the squad that won the World Cup in Spain. For me, it was a great feeling because I was playing in Serie B, and so I felt really pleased that Berzot took me with him. It was a great experience.
For Milan, Baresi's captaincy had brought stability. But when media tycoon Silvio Berlusconi became club president in 1986, the stakes got higher.
Right from the offset, the president talked about becoming the best side in the world. We weren't even the best side in Italy yet, and we weren't challenging for the Scudetto. So we were very unsure about it all.
After a few games and a few things that didn't quite match his ideas, he decided to remove the manager Liedholm from his role as coach of the team.
He decides to go way left field. I'm going to hire this coach, this guy Arrigo Sacchi, who never played the game, who he's fresh off winning a Serie B title with Parma. 5 years ago, he was a shoe salesman.
The arrival of Sacchi was fundamental for our work in training and also for our philosophy. He transmitted a great mentality and brought about a great team organisation.
I think that Sacchi changed the philosophy of Italian football by using pressing for the first time, and it gave us a great advantage. It was this pressing style that was key to us being so efficient defensively.
Sacchi knew his appointment was a huge gamble for Berlusconi. He also knew the importance of his captain and how he needed to convince him of his methods.
At the beginning, he was sceptical. I asked him to give me 2 months, and then we'd take it from there. Italian defenders were used to running backwards. I wanted us to run forward.
At the end of the '80s, we were playing zonal marking, and we're also starting to press higher and be organised by Sacchi. So we played the offside trap a lot.
When Franco was calling the offside line, a lot of the time, he tried to deceive the referee as well.
In those years, we were almost the first to play this revolutionary football, so the others were having difficulties in adapting to it. We played the offside trap all the time, so it became almost an instinct to lift the arm when we were applying the trap to our opponents.
Well, I have to say, in those years, Milan's defence was a perfect machine. When it wasn't perfect, Franco took care of it, both by closing down the opponents and in working the referee, making him doubt his own decisions.
In the '87-88 season, we won the league. In Italy, it surprised almost everyone. We hardly conceded any goals because we were giving our opponents a hard time, and on top of this, we were always in command.
That year, we won the league, and we only conceded a few goals, 14. It was because the defensive organisation was not only based on a strong back four, but also on a midfield in front of it that worked hard and helped a lot.
Milan's form in Serie A was imperious, but it was their exploits on the European stage that excited Baresi.
Yes, the first year in the European Cup in 1989, we reached the final, something that nobody was expecting. It was an amazing season and an exciting journey because we played Real Madrid in the semi-final.
It's remarkable that you have games that stand out in a club's history, and that European Cup, '88-'89, is forever defined by that semi-final.
The first leg was very hard and we managed to draw 1-1. In the second leg, we were waiting for them. The San Siro was packed. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. A superb performance from the whole team. We wiped out Real Madrid.
It was without doubt a significant match because AC Milan showed on the pitch not only all of its power, its quality and its class in the players, but above this, in its ability to show a squad that played as a unit, and this was unique at the time.
It was midfielder Carlo Ancelotti, a man not known for his goals, who set the ball rolling as Milan romped to a crushing 5-0 win.
I remember that goal very well. There was a lot of pressure on us for that match, but everything just went really well. Maybe, for the first time, we realised we were a very strong side and that we could win the European Cup.
If you beat also Real Madrid with 5-0, then everybody was thinking in a different way, and I think that we were at that moment we were on our top as a team.
After that, a new era began in which, if I can put it this way, AC Milan replaced Real Madrid on an international level and on a European level, and from there was a string of successes, or at least a presence among the very best European clubs for a long time.
Milan's humbling of Real Madrid set up a final against Steaua Bucharest and gave Baresi his first taste of the ultimate club prize.
There was no team that could stop us at that time. We had great enthusiasm, great strength and great confidence. As a matter of fact, we won it easily.
Milan's foundations were built on Baresi's leadership of one of the greatest back fours ever to play the game, the symbol of the Rossoneri for the next decade.
I remember that defence, which lasted many years and was a huge part of the history of AC Milan. From Tassotti to myself, Filippo Galli and Maldini, then Costa Curta arrived, so we started to play for many years in that formation.
There was a point when you start to realise that you're part of a great team, and you have to take advantage of these moments that normally last just a few years. Fortunately for me, that moment lasted 20 years.
That was arguably the most efficient defence ever, the best in the history of the game.
In that team, that defence, all four of us became able to move or to read the game in exactly the same way. I think that was the reason behind our success.
I was in charge of that unit. I was lucky to have the intuition that I could read the play. And so for me, I was just having fun. I was having a lot of fun, and my concern was to make the team play in a certain way. And when we did this, I got a lot of satisfaction from it, regardless of my own performance.
He was the master at reading the game and directing the defence. We adapted to him in the defensive line, and little by little, it became almost a default, synchronised mechanism for us all.
They were all on the same wavelength, and Baresi was the leader. He was the one who organised and controlled the whole defensive line.
All the players respected him, because he didn't talk much and spoke only to say meaningful things.
He was quite influential on the pitch, with his personality. But I mean it in a positive way. He was contagious. He was respectful. In the dressing room, he didn't talk much. He was very quiet. And he changed more as a player than as a man.
He was a captain who didn't talk much, but was a great example for everyone, because he was so committed in training and very professional. He was undoubtedly a great leader, not with his words, but with his actions.
After Milan's 4-0 thrashing of Steaua Bucharest, Baresi lifted the famous European Cup once again the following year, thanks to a 1-0 win against Benfica.
To win 2 European Cups in a row was extraordinary. We paid the price for it in the league, but it meant AC Milan left a mark that everybody still remembers.
Italia 90, the FIFA World Cup, and a chance for Baresi to take his club form onto the biggest stage of all.
In the 1990 World Cup, we had a great chance because we were playing at home. That team never lost a match. We only lost the penalty shootout in the semi-final against Argentina. We were a team that played good football. We all hoped to get to the final, but unfortunately in that moment, the penalty shootout again didn't favour us.
In 1991, Arrigo Sacchi was appointed head coach of the Italian national side. Berlusconi turned to a former player to replace him at the helm of his all-conquering AC Milan.
It was a difficult return after so many years of success under Arrigo Sacchi. The appointment of me as manager wasn't the most popular with most people, but Berlusconi was certain that I would be a good coach, and the titles proved it.
After the Sacchi regime, Capello arrived, who was a player who'd played at the highest level, so came with a lot of experience. And we were curious to get to know him.
With Capello, we had extraordinary seasons.
He was good at managing the team, managing the group, and giving motivation. And perhaps he gave us a little more freedom, as we were maybe a bit saturated with Sacchi's methods, his working styles and training.
I remember those years very well, when things were changing, and everyone was talking about a team that wasn't as good as it had been. So to think about us winning 3 league titles in a row, with a team that was finished, was almost a paradox.
The first of their 3 consecutive Scudetti saw Baresi's Milan go unbeaten for the entire 91-92 season.
We know that in football it's never easy. Each season is different. But here we had a group of extraordinary players who were never satisfied. We always worked together with great focus and great commitment.
That team became known as the Invincibles because we went 58 games unbeaten. That's a record. We won the championship without losing a game and still went unbeaten for longer.
Milan also reached 3 consecutive European Cup finals. Sandwiched between defeats against Marseille and Ajax was an unforgettable 4-0 destruction of Johan Cruyff's Barcelona in 1994. Baresi, though, was suspended for what was one of the club's greatest ever Champions League displays.
Well, it would have been better to have been on the pitch. When you have the chance to play in a final, to miss it always hurts. But that day, we completed another amazing season because we won the double. We won the league title and the Champions League, so again, I think it was a wonderful year.
That same summer, Baresi captained Arrigo Sacchi's Italy side at the FIFA World Cup in the USA.
I arrived in 1994 in America, and for me it was my last chance, so the last opportunity to have a positive World Cup. But unfortunately, I got injured in the second match.
I talked to Franco and said, the choice is yours. You have 1 chance in 100 to play the final. The national team has 1 chance in 100 to reach the final. Do you want to take the risk or go home?
I was operated on immediately. I had the surgery, and after 2 days decided to stay with the group, with my team.
His response lifted the morale of that whole team. For him to leave at that stage of the tournament would have felt like him quitting.
Day after day I received treatment on my knee. I did a little bit of training, but to be honest, I never thought I'd be able to play in the final.
Baresi watched his teammates stumble to the final, where they would meet the favourites, Brazil. But for the captain, the doubts remained.
I was worried because I hadn't played for over 20 days. And more than that, I wasn't sure if the knee was going to be able to cope with the effort in those conditions.
His recovery was extraordinary. But he was extraordinary, as I wasn't sure if I should play him or not.
I remember that day. Until 2 hours before going to that stadium, I still didn't know if I was going to play.
He told me, "I am fine with whatever you decide." And I played him.
For me, it was an amazing occasion. Like the manager said, the World Cup final, the last one for me. And I have to say, I put in a great performance because it was my best match for the national side. But unfortunately, we know how it ended. He'd asked who was up for taking a penalty. And for me to volunteer was the right thing to do. Then fate decided the outcome.
I remember there was a list for the penalty takers, or at least there was a list of priorities. Some players even hid behind the bench so they wouldn't be found, because it's never nice to have to say no.
The fact that he cried showed his strength as a person, his character, his authenticity.
It was just a natural and human reaction. After so much tension and so much effort, it was about the disappointment of losing in the final of the World Cup.
When Franco came back from his experience at USA 94, in his typical fashion, he didn't talk much about it. But it's clear that even in this case, in my opinion, you have to point out his attitude, his ability to recover from an injury after such an important operation to his knee in such a short space of time, and then to have accepted his responsibility until the end by going to take a penalty that he missed. But on this occasion, everyone could admire his greatness, not just as a player, but as a man.
Baresi won a final Scudetto in 1996 before announcing his retirement from football. In his 20 years at AC Milan, Baresi made 719 appearances. He won 6 Scudetti as well as 4 Italian Super Cups, and he tasted European glory 3 times. He was also named AC Milan's Player of the Century in 1999. In a final tribute to their legendary captain, Milan retired Baresi's famous number 6 jersey.
It was a recognition of Franco's loyalty. He's only ever played for AC Milan, so it was a reward for his generosity, his quality, and for his success.
I think that retiring Franco's shirt number was an act of respect due to a champion that has given so much to the club, to the team, to everyone, and of course to the supporters.
Franco
Baresi was, and still is, the emblem of the club. What does emblem mean? It gathers the passion of a team, a club, the supporters. Something that goes beyond his human qualities, and not just through sport.
I was surprised when they decided to withdraw the jersey. The club and the president Berlusconi took that decision. Maybe as an act of gratitude, of fondness for what I gave AC Milan.